Hey folks, it's Thursday, and that means two things. First, we chose Norse pagan names for our days of the week. And second, it's New Star Trek Day. So pull up a chair, replicate yourself the finest blend of Earl Grey tea. I'm partial to Lady Grey myself, it's got more orange rind. And let's talk Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 2, Penance. But before we get started, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. First, my spoiler-free impressions. I am mad that QAnon exists. Q is not a made-up government agent, he is a made-up trickster space god. Hopefully, QAnon has faded enough in relevance that the Continuum can resume its rightful place as the proper Q of pop culture. Cope and seethe, James Bond fans. This episode feels like they would have just literally said it in the Mirror Universe if DS9 hadn't established that the Terran Empire is gone in the 24th century. Everyone's got an important evil job. I kinda wish they'd given Elnor a goatee, though he's so baby-faced, I'm not sure he can grow one. We're still early in the season, and I don't think we're gonna be staying here long, so take the time to enjoy the evil timeline. It's a stark contrast to the previous episode, which showed Starfleet at its best and brightest. The episode kind of has a Quantum Leap feel to it. Every episode of that show, Scott Bakula would wake up and... Bean? Wrong slide?
No, this is a Bakula, just like you said.
No, that's a baculum. Take it off. I'd like this video to be monetized in the future.
No chance of that when you only upload 10 minutes a week.
As I was saying, every episode of Quantum Leap, Scott Bakula would wake up in a different time period in a different body and have to quickly assess his surroundings and find out who he is and deal with everyone's suspicion as he's not acting the person they expect. The last 4 seasons of the show kind of ditched the leaping premise as he just stayed in the body of a Starfleet captain, but I digress. Season 1 of Picard took 3 episodes for him to even leave Earth, but this show really seems to want to get started. While I know they won't be staying in this alternate present for long, they wasted no time in sending them here, and I'm excited to see what happens next. With all that out of the way, it's time for spoilers. Q is scary in this. Whatever the show has planned for this season, something has him rattled. Seeing John Delancey play Q unhinged should terrify everyone. He usually has a streak of mischief, but as the episode title suggests, he's not here to put Picard through an ordinary ordeal. Picard must have done something very wrong that we'll find out about as the show progresses. Picard is the general of a fascist genocidal Earth empire. In his study are the skulls of all the Deep Space Nine side characters, presumably because the writers were pissed they couldn't make this a Mirror Universe episode. We even hear a fascist corruption of the Final Frontier speech, in which they seek out and subjugate savage civilizations, boldly conquer alien worlds, and increase wealth for the future of humanity. But Picard, of course, has no memory of this new timeline. Thanks to Q, he and the other main cast still recall the proper flow of time. I bet Guinan does too, although with a xenophobic empire on Earth, who knows where she ended up in this timeline. She might not even have been rescued from the Nexus. 7 of 9 was never Borgified and is instead Annika Hansen, president of the Confederation. A little on the nose to name a slavery-oriented alternate government, but we don't come to dark fascist timelines for subtlety. She's married in this timeline, to which Raffi will later mention that it looks like she finally got over her commitment issues. So, are they even together right now? Or did they only have an off-screen relationship like Agnes and Rios did? 7 asks for a briefing on the Vulcan War, and her husband, the magistrate, suggests talking to General Cisco, which she shoots down because she's found Rios in the military instead. But come on, 7, he name-dropped Cisco, and you aren't even gonna give us a minute of Avery Brooks? Or hell, Sirach Lofton. 7 contacts Rios, who's currently engaged in bombing the planet Vulcan. And once they confirm via private channels they are both still who they are, she has him take La Sirena back to Earth. Elnor is a resistance fighter who just helped pull a 9/11 on Okinawa, and Raffi is a cop hunting him down. She convinces the other officers to let her take him in for questioning, and she happens to arrive at the capital at the same time as Picard, who is there for Eradication Day, a holiday in which alien prisoners of the Confederation are publicly executed. Agnes Girardi is apparently running the alien jail, and in this timeline she's so lonely that she has enslaved Patton Oswalt to be a cartoon cat for her. The prisoner slated for execution is the Borg Queen. She doesn't look like the clockwork Doc Ock from last episode, instead the more classic dangling torso aesthetic. She's played by Annie Wershing, which is a nice full circle for her career, so her first acting role was on Enterprise. And I love that even when they cover her in full body makeup, they keep her signature freckles. She too is aware of the timeline changes, as Seven explains that the Queen has trans-temporal awareness, which probably explains why she was immediately aware when Admiral Janeway showed up in Endgame. No, not that Endgame. The Queen calculates the change to an event in Los Angeles, 2024, and they figure that they can plug her into La Sirena to calculate a time warp slingshot like in Star Trek IV. But there's a transport and communications block in place, so Rios is stuck in orbit waiting for them to bring it down before they can go back in time. Jurati works to restore communications while Rafi has Elnor beat up a bunch of security officers while she takes down the transport block. To stall for time, Seven gives a fascist speech that had been pre-written so she doesn't need to ad-lib, while Picard plays to his popularity with the bloodthirsty crowd by doing hand waves that feel awfully Trumpian. When he takes his sweet time not actually shooting the Borg Queen, the crowd grows restless and some security officers are about to accost the general for being weak, so he starts shooting them instead. The transport block is lifted and they're all beamed up to La Sirena in the nick of time. As Agnes plugs the Queen into the ship's computer, a presidential override lowers the ship's shields and Seven's evil husband beams aboard, having grown increasingly suspicious the whole time. He shoots Elnor and it is not looking good for the kid. Let's hope this version of La Sirena has an EMH. And that's where the episode ends. I hope the next episode dispatches these guys and gets to the time travel shenanigans. What do you think the 2024 of Star Trek will bring? Leave a comment down below.
If the timeline lines up right, we could see a news story about the Bell riots in San Francisco.
Ooh, good call. They might even flash a photo of Ben Cisco as Gabriel Bell himself. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share the video with your friends. Subscribe to my Patreon to get shouted out in future videos. Check out my Bandcamp for banging tunes, including all the tracks you heard in this video. Follow me on Twitter @GayestFesh, and don't forget to check out my podcast, The Rest of Both Worlds, where I go through Star Trek The Next Generation with a friend who's never seen it. Thanks to my patrons, Piftle Cakes and Renee Vorbeck. Your support is greatly appreciated. See you all in the next video.